Welcome back, everyone, to the Friendship Formula. I'm Lisa,
I'm Katie.
and today we're going to talk about, well, as you know, if you've seen our previous episode, we've been friends, best friends for 32 years.
hmm
And so today we thought we would dig into how to stay best friends when life kind of pulls you apart.
So I wouldn't say that we almost lost our friendship, but definitely being pulled apart when I got married, had kids, and Lisa does not. So a big difference in lifestyle, obviously. And things were going one way, she's going the other way. And there would be times when we wouldn't talk for,
Oh, at least I know there's times we didn't talk for at least a month,
yeah.
something like
But
that.
it wasn't out of anger, out of anything. It was just out of differences of
Yep.
our lives.
Careers,
hmm
kids, and just, well, if you have kids, you know what comes along with that. I do not have kids.
hmm
Katie does, and as a matter of fact, her son is my godson, so there's
Right.
that. But yeah, we're going to dive in a little bit to that because even though your friendships are going, your lifestyles are going in different directions, you might not talk as frequently. There's a lot of things going on. It doesn't mean that you're not still as close as ever, right? It just means that life is happening.
Or that you can't come back together in the future as life goes on and you reach out and things change and you reach out more. So I was 19 when I met Lisa. I got married when I was 22 and I had my first child at 25. So I would say we remained pretty close through that era. There were some complications in my first pregnancy. Lisa was at the hospital immediately. It was pretty traumatic. So she was definitely around for that very, very sad, traumatic situation.
And I will say, let me just jump in real
hmm
quick. So here's what's kind of funny, right? Um, Katie was in the hospital. Things didn't go as planned, but she has a lovely daughter, and son. But this was the daughter we're talking about, that situation. But what's funny is, like, we were super close,
hmm
but I still wasn't sure. Honestly, like, I still wasn't sure, when should I go to the hospital? Like, because I didn't know, right? They're going through a traumatic situation. And even though we were best friends, right? Her husband, and honestly, one day her mom called me. And this was, I think, maybe within a day or so, right? It
yeah, 'cause I
wasn't,
think you were there the second day, if I
yeah,
remember
it
correctly.
wasn't very long, but I was honestly so glad her mom called me because I was struggling with, I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to feel like I was barging in, although I know it would have never been taken like
hmm
that. Let me be perfectly clear. But it's still, I was like, and then her mom called me and her mom was like, no, yeah, you need to go to the hospital. She needs you. And yeah, so next
She's
day,
falling apart.
she, and so yeah, next day I was there.
Yep, yep. And that was the day I'll never forget. She was there. My husband was there. My daughter was at a different hospital, and I had got up to take a shower, and I just lost it, like crying and crying. And she was there, and she didn't leave. I mean, she didn't leave my side. It was, I mean, those things are a test of a true friendship, not the time lapse, not anything else, but who's going to be there in the long run when traumatic situations come about, death of our loved ones, other things that happened. And those are the things that kind of keep that friendship going. And Lisa's considered part of my family. She knows that. But at the time, it was like, where am I at with this? Even though we were really close, it was a pretty, I don't know, traumatic, but yet
Was.
sensitive situation, I guess is a
Yeah.
good word to use. So not knowing where to stand in that. And I didn't know my mom called you.
I might have never told you.
Probably
I
not.
mean,
My mom or Tom.
not
That's
the
my
only thing I
husband,
haven't told you.
Yeah. That'll be a conversation for later then, I
That's right.
suppose.
That's right. It's probably not a whole nother episode. But it's funny, yeah. Her mom called me and she's like, yeah, because again, I was kind of on the fence, not because I thought it would be taken anyway. In the end, I just wanted to make sure her and her husband had the space they needed,
hmm
right? Even though I know I could have showed up whenever and it would have been fine. But I just wanted to make sure they had the space.
So I remember when I came home with my daughter, probably or not long after that, Lisa and her then boyfriend came over and brought her. I'll never forget. It was a giraffe that you put blocks in. You remember that?
I don't.
Oh yeah, it was a giraffe with
What?
blocks, and yep, you guys came over and brought her a little present and hung out, and I remember that gift very, very. Like I said, a giraffe with blocks and it would go down and stuff. But yeah, so then after my daughter was born, we were still super close, and still doing taekwondo together, things like that. We kind of, I kind of fell out of that because I had my daughter, stay-at-home mom, things were getting busy, and she continued. So she kind of had her own life with that without me, which was fine. I mean, that's good. But I don't really know, like, when we truly wouldn't talk for a month. No reason, like I said, no reason, no fallout. But she got very involved in CrossFit. I was running my kids around. So it kind of evolved from there.
And I think even before you had the second one, right? Even with your first one,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, she tried to continue taekwondo after, but it's having a new. So and I ended up. How many years
Well,
did we do it together? I ended up doing it for a total of 10 years.
well, if we did it together probably for a total of 6 to 7 years.
Really?
Yeah, because I came when I was 19.
I didn't know it was that long.
I had Ava when I was 20. My daughter when I was 25. So that right there was 6 years. And then I probably continued for about another year. And I was like,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So yeah, so I continued on, and of course, that was what, a 3-4 night a week thing.
And I kind of felt left out, but I had to do what was working for me because we were all really close at that studio, but I had to do what was working for me and my family at the time. That was kind of our first evolution to a stretch of time of not being as close as we were. Not
well, we were as close.
Yeah,
but we
not
were
in contact as much.
Right, as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you were there for my daughter's first birthday, I'm positive.
Of course I was.
Yep. And then it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So then when I had my son, which was 4 years later, he had to have surgery. Of course, another traumatic situation. She was there. She's my son's godmother. And I think that we were close in that era of my kids being little. It's when they got older and I had to run them all around. They were doing catechism and sports and this and that.
Let me just jump in.
Catechism was very important.
No, and I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. Believe me. Listen, we're not getting into any of those topics on this channel, right? We're not. But it was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about things sometimes now that we have been friends for so long. And we will talk about things. And it's just so funny because I'll be like, girl, literally every Tuesday, proud enough, through both children.
Yes. So years.
I've got to take them to.
And I would volunteer so I could get it for free.
And then she would literally complain about it.
Every Tuesday. You volunteered to do this. I'm like, that's because I want it for free.
It was like clockwork. It was like she'd call me and I'd be like, girl, I know what you're doing. Don't even tell me.
Yep.
I already know.
Yep.
It's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
And then my son got involved in sports when he was young. So there you do this. But she came to games, right? You came to games.
Never went to any of the football games. I don't think I went to a high school game.
He was only.
But we're really moving fast here. There's other
We
things that
are.
have happened before you pop the kids out.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well, we're talking about when our friendship sort of lapsed,
Yeah,
I guess
that's
you
true.
could say.
That's true.
So I'm kind of looking at those places in our friendship where our friendship did last and lapse and how it came back together. So probably she was super involved in CrossFit. She was an instructor. She was gone every single night. That was her family. That was her life. And I would come and watch and all that stuff. But that was definitely her thing. And did I feel left out with all of her CrossFit friends? Yeah, I did.
It's a community, and
It is.
People, I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. I was a member of it 2 or 3 outstanding
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit gyms. And the community aspect of it is absolutely amazing if you get into a great
Yep.
gym. And it's funny because I kept doing the Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
You're raising your kids. Then when the Taekwondo school closed, I started just going to a regular gym, right?
Made a bunch of friends there.
Yep. And then from there is when I discovered CrossFit. And in 10 years at CrossFit.
Yeah.
10 entire years at CrossFit.
And like 10 entire years of every single day of CrossFit.
Literally every day.
Yep.
And then, like Katie said, I got my level 1. I was a CrossFit coach, competitions, great big community events. It was very similar to what we did in the Taekwondo.
Yeah. So you can see how now we're living 2 totally separate lives. She's busy, I'm busy, and we didn't connect a lot. And for a while, I think it was hard for us to reconnect. You think?
I think that we just had different interests,
Yeah.
right? And I can sit here and say about I'm doing A, B, C, D, and E, and she's like, I don't even know what that is.
Right.
And then you came to the gym one time, and I was Olympic lifting.
I didn't
and
like it.
Yeah, she
I didn't
was.
like
She
it at
was
all.
scared for me.
I'm like, you're going to drop that thing on your head? And I don't want to be a witness.
She was literally
Like,
scared
literally, I went
for
one
me.
time.
She's like,
Nope.
you're putting like all that weight above your head. I'm like, well, I trained to do this, so
She tried to get me to join. I said, I was like,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
No.
not one
No, thank
time.
you. Nope.
So-
Not one time.
But we still tried to get together. We did. We still talked.
Oh, yeah,
on
because
the
I would go
phone.
out with you and your CrossFit
Yes.
friends quite a bit. That was
Yep.
fun.
And then we would do, you and I would plan stuff together. So I don't know that there was ever a time that was probably the biggest time
I would say that was the biggest time.
when we kind of
It didn't last 10 years.
No.
It just, that was the biggest time of really a lapse in friendship. But I knew,
lapse in contact.
yeah,
In
contact. But I can tell you right now that if I were to call her or she were to call me and we need each other, yep.
Yeah. I mean, we probably would at least make an effort to speak. We probably went 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, like I
Mhm.
said before, maybe a month.
Mhm.
Where we didn't talk, and that was fine. Like, we're busy.
Well, I didn't have
everybody
any
was busy.
friends, so there was that.
Well, and you still don't. So there, I mean,
True statement.
again, something we've talked about for the length of our friendship.
Who needs more friends when you've got one that does everything you need? Now I got to go out more. I don't want to do all that. It's too much work.
That's gonna be another entire
Yes.
episode as well
Yes.
of how
Major
how that-
differences with that.
major
Mhm.
differences.
But acceptance is a very important part of a friendship.
Yes, it is. So I think that was the time, and then even as the kids got older, like you said, I guess going back to that is when it did become even more so, right? Because at least seeing each other,
Mhm.
because she was busy, kids in sports, school activities, all of that kind of stuff.
Well, the one thing I will say though is, so that's a major difference in our lifestyle. And you could say, well, what if Lisa tries to give you advice about kids? She doesn't have kids. That's perfect. I always take her advice. I don't care if she has kids or doesn't have kids. She knows me well enough. She knows my kids well enough, my husband enough to say, maybe that's not a good idea. Or you should totally, like when I was letting my son go to Mexico at 15 and I was so hesitant, she's like, let him go. Let him go. And
then
thanks to you, I did. Now he's traveling all over the place.
That's right. Because it's funny because kids now, I feel like have a lot more opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to do things like that.
Mhm.
And so although she was hesitant, I'm like, don't hold them back from
Mm-hmm.
that opportunity.
She's
Plus-
definitely reasonable when it comes to kid advice, which I know some people don't think is weird, but
Yeah.
it's actually not. If you have a friend that doesn't have kids and you have kids, they see things from a totally different perspective
Mhm.
than you do. And it pushed me as a parent to be less worrisome, I should say. Like, why would you not let them go? Or why would you not let your daughter do this? And I'm like, because I don't want to. Well, Kate, it's really not about you.
You have no idea
How many times?
how many times I've said that. throughout this friendship.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, even marriage. I mean, she was in a long-term relationship, even relationship advice, marriage advice. That's one thing I think where people's friendships fall apart is that, okay, one friend's married with kids. So, of course, the friend who's not married with kids would never understand what I'm going through, which is absolutely an untruth.
Yeah.
Absolute untruth. And I think that isolates people. And for people who don't have kids and aren't married, think that they can't be friends with people who have kids. Like my existence is more important because I'm married and have kids. That's totally untrue.
Yeah, and I was in a long-term relationship. I don't
Mhm.
have children, but it was, what, a
20 year, yeah.
20 plus years.
Hmm.
Um, and Katie and her husband and myself and my boyfriend, like we used to do
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots of
we
stuff.
used to do lots of stuff
We had lots of fun.
together.
Lots of fun.
We had lots of fun. We would do things like, fun little thing. We
Go to haunted houses. We'd go to New Year's Eve parties.
Oh my gosh.
We would do a lot of stuff.
See if I can wrangle up some of those pics from the New Year's Eve parties.
Yeah.
One thing we did like to do back then, and this was before she had kids, is we would go to the New Year's Eve parties where you would just go book a room at a hotel, and the hotel itself was
Would
having
host
a
it.
big gala.
Hmm.
Kept everybody safe.
Yep.
We did that in Taekwondo.
Yep.
Many people from the Taekwondo school went there. So
Mhm.
we did that a number of years, and we would do haunted houses and, just things like that. The four of us, and it was always a great time.
And I think too, when I stopped with Taekwondo, that stopped all the travel tournaments, that stopped all of that. And that was a real bummer for me. But I had to be accepting of where we both were in life and just be like, obviously we're still going to be friends. But yeah, I mean, there's times when, and maybe even Lisa sometimes felt left out when I'm doing,
Mhm.
stuff with my family. And
Yeah.
it's just, but it's still the core of the friendship is what's important.
That's right.
What did you guys truly like about each other before your lives changed? And is that going to be something that you can come back to? And we definitely have. I mean, we're probably closer now than ever. Say?
Yeah, I think it changes too, right? Because, there's always things.
Mhm.
There's always things we're helping each other through.
Especially
You know.
now at this age. And I think at our younger ages, we would go to Ocean City and Atlantic City. And those were some really, really good times. And I think to have somebody that you're comfortable enough to travel with and share a room with and not get on your nerves, like we talked about, I think we talked a little bit about that last time.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge thing. Lisa outside of my immediate family, my mom, my niece, and my daughter, my husband, obviously, are probably, and my son, probably is the only person I would travel with. Just her and
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, I mean, we've never not had fun when
No.
we've traveled together.
Oh, no.
We've done road trips.
Although one time we had a trip to Vegas planned and she started inviting random people. Yeah, I was pissed. I was mad. She didn't
One
confer
thing
with
I
me.
will never hear the end of.
Yep.
And they weren't random people. They literally were our friends. However, I did not let her know beforehand. So, 20 some years
It
later.
was fun. We had a great time.
We did have a great
had a
time,
great
but
time.
it still gets brought up quite
Yeah,
frequently.
as it should.
But we've traveled. We did road trip out to the East Coast. We used to we went to Atlantic City. You only went once.
Yes.
I went 2 or 3 times to
Yep.
Taekwondo tournaments. And we drove out to the East Coast for my niece's dance tournament one summer. So yeah, we've done some pretty fun stuff. And again, just as a disclaimer, we're not saying that we're counselors or anything professional. What we
Right.
are is just real talk,
Mhm.
32 years of friendship. And
Right.
if you guys are interested, first of all, we would love to know if there's others out there
Yeah.
that have had the same kind of relationship that we have. And we would love to know, if there's ever been a time when you've had to navigate, through just everybody's life taken separate.
And
I
how
think
it works
that
for you.
happens.
I mean, giving advice and sharing your stories is the best therapy, right? So you can say, okay, well, maybe I need to do this or maybe I need to work on that because I really value this friendship and I really want it to last a long time. And I think a lot of it is organic. It's not forced. And that's what I like about our friendship is it's just it's very natural.
Yeah.
Like meant to be, basically.
I mean, we literally can spend the whole evening together and just laugh.
Yeah, about dumb
We
stuff.
literally think we're so funny.
And we are.
No.
I don't think it.
We don't think anybody else thinks we're funny,
My husband
but we
probably
will
doesn't.
crack ourselves up for hours.
And a lot of it is stories that we talk about. Remember when this happened?
Yeah,
And
just
remember
kind of
that
some of the stuff
happened?
we're talking about
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I totally forgot about that giraffe, whatever I
Yeah,
bought
I
for your
remember that.
daughter.
Mhm.
But yeah, we would love for you to share with us.
Mhm.
You know, if you've encountered that time in some of your good friendships, where
Or
it
if
just
you're-
kind of pulled you,
I'm
and
sorry.
maybe you didn't come back together.
Or if you're apart right now where you're struggling, or there's a distance that you want to close up. How can I do that? Like our friendship. Well, my one friend, she's married, she's got kids, and I'm not married, I don't have kids, and we struggle with that because I think a lot of moms think that, oh, she doesn't have kids, she has no idea. I don't think that. I know better, and that's such an untruth. And I think that's part of a lot of people's lives that go two separate ways. They think, well, we're not going to have nothing in common now, and it's up to you. Like maybe you don't.
That's true.
Maybe you don't have anything in common. Maybe you feel like your life isn't in a total different direction. But if the friendship you think is worth it and you're struggling, it's something worth talking about and considering.
Yeah, for sure. So share your thoughts with us and your experiences. We would love to hear them.
Yep.
Just because we think what we have is, super special, and the fact that we think. And then we would also love to hear maybe some topics that you'd like to hear us chat about in the future. We, again, we're just figuring this whole YouTube thing out.
Right.
But hopefully this is helpful, for some people. And so we'd love to hear maybe what topics that you'd like us to talk about. We talked about first maybe going in chronological order. We're not sure that's going to work. We have
too
way
hard.
too much to say.
There's too much. And I think too, when you're talking about your friendship, looking at what is it that you want to accomplish, and you're looking at, okay, so here's where I'm at. This is where I want to be. And do you want to get there? And even sharing your stories and your advice. And I'm sure as best friends, you all think you're the funniest out there, but I'm here to tell you you're not.
Oh shoot, that's hilarious. I don't know if I think we might be the only one who think that, but maybe not. Maybe not. So let us know in the comments. And we are going to sign off for this episode, but once we get rolling, we're going to try to get at least one episode out per week. So we would love it if you like this content, go ahead and like and subscribe. And again, we're just figuring this out. So while we realize this is far from professional looking, hey, we're not professionals. And
no, we're not.
You're literally, you're getting us. You're just getting us. It is what it is. So thank you so much for checking out the Friendship Formula. And we hope to see you soon in the future. See ya.
Peace.